Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, and today I'm doing a bit of an interesting video. So I am doing two things in this video, and the first thing is I am going to be using a new art supply which I recently got. The second thing I'm doing in this video is I am also doing another part of my dragons inspired by tea varieties. This is a series which I've been doing lately on my channel where I draw a dragon inspired by a different variety of tea, and I really love doing these, and I think that they're really fun to do, and it kind of, I don't know, gives me a bit of a challenge. It's a bit of a sort of a character or creature design, and I also get to incorporate tea into my drawing because I absolutely love tea. Tea is the best thing in the whole world other than art. So today we are making a dragon based off my favorite variety of tea, and this variety is called Yorkshire Gold. This is my favorite tea in the world. It is legit the best tea I've ever tasted, and I love it so much. And yeah, I'm so excited to be able to do this because I've been wanting to do this one since I started this series actually. So the new art supply I am also using today is, as you can see, it is gold leaf. Now, I know it's not actual gold leaf, it's imitation gold leaf, okay? I'm not rich, I can't afford actual gold. However, this stuff was a lot of fun to use, and it was actually quite inexpensive. I actually got it from a dollar store near my house. It definitely wasn't $1. It was a bit more than that. I can't remember the price. However, it was a lot of fun to use. So as you can see, I'm starting off the sketch now, and I wanted to do a dragon in flight because I love drawing dragons flying, and before I sort of did the sketch, I kind of did a really messy sketch underneath with a thick sort of brush, and yeah, I basically just sort of sketched out the rough shapes that I wanted this dragon to be before I ended up doing the details over the top. Now I am doing the sketching and the line art digitally for this one using my iPad Pro, my Apple Pencil and Procreate, and that is because sometimes I prefer to do it this way, especially when I want to sort of experiment a little bit and, you know, move things around, that kind of thing. It's a little bit easier when I do it this way because for one, you can erase the ink. Two, you can like transform it, resize it, flip it, anything like that. And yeah, I like to mix things up sometimes, so sometimes I'll draw traditionally, sometimes I'll draw digitally. So after I got the line art how I liked it, I ended up printing it out onto some of my Express It blending card. This is my favorite paper to use with my Copic markers, and it's got a really smooth finish and blending works really nicely on it, and yeah, this paper is probably one of my favorite papers to use. So what I wanted to do with this dragon, and the reason it's inspired by this tea, is mainly the image on the box. I really like this box because it has a really nice color palette on it. I find that the sort of peachy light sky, and then the greens, and then the purples on the box, a really nice sort of color palette, and they look really nice together, so I definitely wanted to incorporate that into my dragon. Now I decided on putting the peachy tones on the scales on the dragon's belly and the bottom of its tail, and then for the purples, which is the lavender pictured on the box, I actually decided to do the other parts of the dragon's body with that. So as you can see, the top part, its arms and its legs, and the sort of muscly parts on its wings and also its face. Now I can see on the box here the sort of flowers have this sort of texture where there's light bits and dark bits, and I definitely want to incorporate that as well, so I ended up making that the scales on the dragon. So as you can see, it's sort of speckly and shiny, as if those scales are sort of capturing light and shadows in different ways. I actually really like how I did that. So basically I just used 3 different purple markers for that purple part, and yeah, I used the mid-tone one, and then I sort of drew lots of little circles and then colored in around them so that I left some white circles, and then I went over those with a very pale purple color, and then after that I went in with some very dark purple, and then I drew in some more spots so that it was a sort of three-toned purple speckly look, which sort of alludes to scales a little bit. Now here is my favorite part of this video, where I finally get into this gold leaf. Now the way you actually use this stuff, I'm actually going to read this from the package. Using a soft paintbrush, apply a thin, even coating of the gold leaf size to the area. Now this is this sort of glue stuff which you use for the gold leaf, and yeah, you let that actually dry for a little bit, 30 to 60 minutes, and once that dries, this stuff sort of turns very, very sticky. Now after that, you sort of lift up a piece of the gold leaf from the booklet and then lay it across the surface using a brush to gently smooth the leaf onto the work surface so that it adheres well, and then you brush off any excess leaf. Now this stuff was very, very delicate to use. I know you can use cotton gloves on your hands so that it's easier to hold, but I didn't have any of that, and I wasn't going to go out and try and find cotton gloves specifically for this purpose, so I was like, oh, I'll just be very, very careful. Now some of it did rip a little bit, as you can see very soon. Right there, yep, but that's okay because I just sort of layered a piece of gold leaf over the top of that, and then you can barely tell that that happened at all. Now this stuff I find very, very fun to use. I have used a lot of gold stuff in the past to add sort of parts to my drawings that sort of sparkle. I've used gold ink, I've used gold pencils, I've used a gold Sharpie. I really, really love that sort of that bit you can add to an artwork where it just sort of sparkles and shines and stands out really well. I love doing that in my art, and this gold leaf stuff is definitely very fun to use, and it's kind of satisfying seeing that sort of detail come together once you brush off the excess gold, and it just stays exactly where you put the adhesive sizing stuff. And yeah, I actually had a lot of fun. Now the texture on the gold leaf is very, very cool. I'm glad that I decided to use it for the sort of membrane parts of the dragon's wings, because it does have a bit of a texture on it where some of the little creases and stuff of the gold are, and I actually really, really do like that, because it kind of does look like a very thin sort of membraney, metallic-y thing. And yeah, this stuff was very, very fun to use. I was actually going to add this at the end of the artwork after I did the background. However, I was just too excited to get into it, so I sort of drew the dragon and then did the gold, and then I did the background afterwards, which worked out alright. Actually, I'm not sad that I did it that way. It was definitely very, very fun to do, so yeah. So once I got the gold leaf done on the wings, the sort of claws of the dragon, and the little spines on the sides of its head, I decided that I wanted to go in with the background. Now, I definitely knew that I wanted to do a dark background on this, mainly because I wanted the dragon to sort of pop out. It's got some very bright and light sort of colors, so I definitely wanted to have a dark background to contrast this. So basically what I did was I did some sort of horizontal, sorry, I get those mixed up, horizontal strokes for a sky with a few different blues and a sort of bluey purple color. And then yeah, after that I added on some stars with my gel pen, and yeah, this was a lot of fun to make. So this dragon here that I'm creating, I just wanted to talk a little bit about it, because I like to sort of make up a little bit about this dragon when I do these sort of things. So this dragon is obviously based off Yorkshire tea, so it definitely makes sense that this dragon is native to Yorkshire in England. So this dragon sort of flies around the area. It has these very, very bright gold wings, which is why they call it the Yorkshire gold dragon. And it flies around, and the sort of leafy sort of plumage on the the back of its head and on its tail, and that stuff, if it sort of falls off the dragon, you can make tea from it, and one sort of little leaf of this sort of stuff can make 100 cups of tea. Now I mainly say that because the box has 100 bags of tea, and that's not very creative, but I thought it was a cool little thing to add. So yeah, this video is starting to come to a close, so I hope you guys enjoyed this sort of creature design. I love making these, they're so fun. Yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Please hit like and subscribe if you haven't already. We are very, very close to getting to 9,000 subscribers, which again is very close to 10,000 subscribers, which is mind-blowing. So yeah, thank you guys again. That's probably the third time I've thanked you. Thanks again. That's number 4, and yeah, I will see you in my next video. Bye everyone.